Hey everybody, this is Andrew from TS for Tech, and today what I'm going to be doing is kind of talking a little bit about a custom keyboard that I'm building, or will be building in this episode. This is a 64 key wired keyboard kit from Amazon. It is on Amazon, the brand is YMDK, and I'll link to this obviously in the description. But when you look at it, it's a Skylong. I'm thinking, I guess it's Skylong as the actual brand, even though it's a YMDK on Amazon. Now this is not aluminum, right? So this is a plastic. It's actually pretty sturdy. I was debating on whether or not to get the plastic or the aluminum. On Amazon, at least, the aluminum was not in stock, and I didn't want to wait too long, so I did get the plastic, and it's actually pretty sturdy. So, I mean, it's obviously not as heavy or as robust feeling probably as the aluminum would be, but the plastic is not bad. It's, like I said, it doesn't feel cheap, which is good. So I'm not doing an unboxing of this, but this is the box that it came in. So Skylong, and it's the GK64X USB. So it does have a USB-C connection on it. They do give you a braided cable. So all in all, I mean, it's pretty good. This is the do-it-yourself kit. And with that, it does include a hot swap PCB, which is nice because I was talking in another video that I was planning on doing some work on the Duragod Hades board. But before doing that, I wanted to kind of try out a, kind of a more easily accessible hot swap kit. So this does have, I don't know if this is aluminum or steel. I think it's steel because it's heavier. The stabilizers on here, I'll have to take a look at them. They're pretty sturdy. They don't move around, and they are pre-lubed with something I can see. So I'll take a look at those. May or may not re-lube or remove those, but this is the plate. This one does have the ability to swap out the switch for the spacebar, and if you want to add a different plate there that has, instead of a single switch, you could have two switches. If you want to have a split spacebar or do something else there, so that's nice. I'm going to use just the standard spacebar. The PCB itself, again, looks pretty well made. It's black, as you can see. It does have Kale hot swap switch mounts there, and this can use 3 or 5 pin switches. So you can see you've got the center hole, you've got obviously 2 switch pins, and then you have 2 additional holes. So you can use 3 or 5 pin switches on this. I'm going to be using Novelty Creams, which are 5-pin switches, and I'll talk about that in a second. But as you can see, that's what it looks like. Again, pretty well made. I don't really see any issues with the PCB itself. So that's that. And now I've already done a little bit of work on the case, and what I did, I got to take out these screws. So I tested this a little bit before this video, obviously, and the bottom of the case was just plastic and hollow, so I wanted to kind of sound deaden it a little bit. I tried some foam, but I couldn't get the foam in there in a way that wouldn't be pressing against the PCB. So what I actually used was some of my son, he used to play hockey. He had some of this black cloth hockey tape. So it's kind of like, almost like a gaffer's tape or some sort of that sort of tape, but it's made out of, it's almost like a cloth, and it's not super sticky. So I cut a bunch of pieces and I put them in the bottom of the case just to kind of add some sound deadening. And if you do this, I mean, I searched briefly on YouTube, but I didn't really see anybody use this kind of, this kind of method to kind of deaden the sound in a keyboard case. So we'll test it out here. I think it'll work pretty good. I didn't put it all together yet with the switches to test to see what it sounded like, but it feels like it adds quite a bit of, obviously not bulk, but deadening to the inside of the case, right? So hopefully we'll remove that echo sound that you'll kind of hear clickety-clack when typing on this. The only thing I did do is kind of just kept putting it in until I felt a little resistance on the actual PCB putting it in, so I wanted to fill it up basically as much as I could without messing up, obviously, the whole thing. So that's what the case looks like. And again, right, so here's the USB-C connection there, kind of a nice cutout around that so you can use different cables. You don't have to, I know I've seen some cases that have this very inset or recessed, and then you have a problem finding a USB cable that will fit in there, but this one should work fine. And it does have some silicone feet kind of at the corners. There are no plastic risers or anything like that, but the keyboard angle itself, it looks pretty decent, so it should be comfortable to type on, I think. So we'll have to see, obviously, as I move through the rest of this video, but it does look pretty good. So again, so this is going to be the case, right? So plastic, sound deadening, and all of that. And now for the keys, or for the switches, I am using Novel Key creams, okay? So I bought these from Novel Keys, obviously, Novel Keys. And I did lube them already. So I did use, I tested a couple different lubes. I had bought this, this Kibo. So this is Krytox GPL 105. And that's more of like the thin, oily kind of lube. And then I did also get some Krytox GPL 205 grade 0, which is more of like a grease. I don't know if you can see in there. It's kind of more thick, kind of like a thick grease. And I did use that to lube these switches. Now, I was having some problems actually getting the switches apart. So I do have a 3D printer, and I printed this key switch opener from Thingiverse, which is really nice. And you can just kind of basically pop the key or pop the switch on there and, you know, pops right off. So I do recommend, if you're going to do anything like this and you're going to be taking apart switches, buy one of these off of Amazon, or if you have a 3D printer, go ahead and print one, because these are a lifesaver on just taking the switches off, and it doesn't hurt your fingers, or you don't poke yourself with any tweezers or anything else you're trying to like get these taken apart with. So I did use this. It's pretty useful. And then I did all the switches already. So what I did, instead of showing that, I mean, there's other YouTube videos, and I'm not an expert, I don't think, on actually doing it. So what I did here is I left one switch non-lubed. It's got the little dot on it. And then I have a lube switch. So what I'm going to do real quick here is just put the microphone up to it, and I'll show you the sound difference. So hopefully you were able to tell the difference there. I can tell the difference in both the sound and the feel. Obviously the non-lube switch, even though these are made of that POM material, it does have a clicky, clacky kind of sound in it, and you can hear a little bit of scratchiness, even though these are linears and there's not a lot of friction or, you know, actual tactile bump in there, but it does just feel a little bit scratchy sounding, and it's loud. And then when doing this, you know, lubing them up, it does remove all the scratchiness sounds, and it doesn't make as much clacking noises. So again, the key I think here is to not use too much lube. I started off on a couple of them, and as I put them back together, I had like too much lube in the actual, just in the whole thing. And I think I put too much on the stem, and when it was going down in the recessed hole, it made like a farting noise. So like switch farts, I guess, because of the air pressure in there, and it was making like little noises. So anyways, don't use too much lube, or you know, you'll mess the switches up. But I think that worked pretty well. So again, yeah, so I used the Krytox grade 0, and I think that worked pretty good, I think, on these switches. So I did all of the ones in here, and this is more than I need for this keyboard, because I ordered, I think, I don't know, these might be 80 or 90 switches. Obviously, you only need 64 for the keyboard, but while I was at it, I was just doing them all. So It took a long time. I did break it up into like 20 or 30-minute segments because that was all I could take before wanting to poke my eyes out, and it's just a pain in the butt. I don't know. Anyway, so those are all done. And basically all I need to do now is assemble the keyboard, which I'll do, and then I'll also do a sound test of it in a second. Now, I did also get some of these keycaps for the board from Amazon, and this packaging really kind of sucks, I guess, but this one is also sold by the brand called YMDK on Amazon. It has pretty decent reviews. Just kind of a gray and white with a couple accent keys in blue and red. I got this one actually because it kind of matches the T is for Tech colors. So it's got white and kind of that kind of blue, and I do occasionally use even a red accent on different sorts of things. So I thought this one would kind of be on brand for the channel, and it was pretty cheap. So these are PBT keycaps, and they generally, kind of looking here for the most part, they look okay. Some of them looks like a little bit of, like the edges aren't fully straight on some of the keys. So on the longer keys especially, so I don't know. But it was cheap, and just for now, this is what I'm putting on it. I might switch it out in the future. Obviously, I don't know. But these are supposedly laser etched for the actual key identification. They don't light through. So even though this is RGB keyboard, then basically what I'll end up is kind of like an underglow, hopefully. And even though these cream switches are not clear, but they do have a little bit of a gap at the top for the light from the RGB to kind of come up through, I'm hoping. So we'll see, I don't know. This might be a total cluster, and it might not work out, but hopefully it's not. So I got these. So basically I have everything I need to put this board together. The keycaps, the switches, all the other stuff, and everything's ready to go. So I'm gonna hop on over to a table or different location and just start putting it together.
People come and people go through high streets we know. working late, day and night. No one knows what the future will bring. All or nothing. Gotta mean something when you're misunderstood. Gotta mean something when you're up to no good. Misunderstood, this firewood keeps me sane. Like the teeth around my neck on my gold chain. Misunderstood, I'm no victim, no Robin Hood. Hang them teeth around my neck on my gold chain. My ghosts and my dreams gonna rescue me. Like the teeth around my neck on my gold chain.
So as you can see, just going through some colors here. All in all, I think that the keyboard turned out okay. Really happy with the feel of it and the switches and the keys just generally. The one thing I will have to do, as I mentioned a little earlier in the overlay, is I gotta fix the stabilizers, because especially the spacebar is a little bit rattly. But I'll do that in another video, and I'll come back hopefully with some updates. This is Andrew from TS for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.